Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 426. And today we're going to be talking about the Canis, the assault mech, 80 tons. It's a 353, so it does have some mobility for a slow-moving pig. It has endo steel, XL engines, has 15 tons of armor for 245 or 240 points of armor. So it's just like slightly less than a half ton short of being maxed out. So not too bad. It has some weapons, which I look at the weapons loadout and go scratch my head going, what the? All right, it has two ER two ER large lasers in the right arm, two ER large lasers in the left arm. Yeah, there's four. And then we have an AC-10 Ultra in the right torso with 2 tons of ammo. Then we have the same thing at AC-10 Ultra in the left torso with 2 tons of ammo. And then we have 3 jump jets. We have one in each of the torsos, right, center, and left. So, yeah. And, oh, wait a minute. It only has 16 double heat sinks. So it can dissipate 32. And you're like, wait a minute. I see 51 points of heat possible with just some of its weapons and jumping. Yeah, you're right. So you're basically looking at 4 ER large lasers that pump out 48 heat. And if you jump, that's 51, and you can only dissipate 32. Yeah, you're almost, 19 up on the heat scale? Like, bam, just nothing flat. You're like, oh, that's not too bright. Yeah. You can barbecue this pilot that's on board this thing and really quickly. If you double pump the 2 auto cannons, that's another 12 heat. So, ooh, yeah, you're looking at a lot of heat being dished out. You're in the shutdown mode just by unloading all your weapons. Not a smart thing to do. You put this in the hands of someone that doesn't know what they're doing, I can guarantee you they're going to be firing every weapon they have, and in one turn they're just a shutdown mech. Not smart at all. All right. So basically, you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, I can see 2 ER large lasers shooting out there to 25. That's pretty decent. I can get behind that. But why do they have to put on 2 extras that are basically kind of hanging on, kind of worthless in a way? Yes, you can fire 3, and if you walk, that's 37. You're only 5 up in the heat scale, so now you're a 2, 3, 3. So you're a really slow-moving pig? Yeah, that makes 0 sense. If you run, obviously you're going up 6, and then if you go fire a jump jets up, and you're up, 7? Yeah, not smart. And if you look at the heat on a 7, oh geez, you're just getting close to that +1 fire modifier. Yeah, you're still slow. It's like, yeah, it would have been better off if they would have taken 2 of those ER large lasers and converted them into, let's say, 3 pulse lasers and a couple more freezers. You know, kick it up to 18, and then you can dissipate 36. That way you can at least fire your weapon systems, 2 of the ER larges and double pump the 2 auto cannons. At least that's 36, and then walking or running is adding heat, but it's not going to have detrimental effects for a few turns. So yeah, it's one of those mechs that, yeah, you design something that you want to produce a lot of firepower, but if you do, you use it, you shut down. It's like a really, really, really bad design for a mech. It's like, oh, let's run up there, fire everything, and then 2 turns later, okay, let's do it again. And then 2 turns later, let's do it again. So 1 turn, fire everything, and next turn you cool off. Yeah. That's kind of like how I see this thing kind of working, sort of. But it'll take you forever to cool off. Yeah. All right, so that's the big issue I have with this thing. So it's definitely one of those mechs that you just look at it and go, no, I don't think so. It's like it has major issues that has to be taken care of. So, and then just by removing 2 weapon systems and replace them with something shorter ranged and some more freezers, then you can handle it. Now, the other biggest issue that it does come with this thing is that since it's slow moving, it has a small engine, and space, crit space is at a premium. It only has 5 open slots of crit space, so you can't really throw a lot of stuff on it without having to figure out how to balance things out. And near as I can figure, with the prime configuration of this thing, the best way to do it is get rid of 2 of the ER larges and then replace them with some 3 pulse lasers and a couple of freezers. You're using up all your crit space, but at least you turn it into something that's more palatable and more usable. Now, how are you going to use this thing? Well, ignore that you have 2 of your ER larges. They're just wasted tonnage. Now, if you lose an arm, one of them gets blown off, okay. You're not losing much because you weren't using them to begin with, kind of thing. So, yeah, you're just firing away with your 2 ER larges and then throwing your autocannons in there. Now, you can fire autocannons in single shot mode, and, then you're sitting at 30, 32. That's not bad. It's when you start throwing in extra rounds downrange. And I'm not a big fan, really, of the autocannons, ultra autocannons, because you got to pay the tax again. It's like you hit, then you got to see if you even get the second one to hit with an 8+. So, yeah, it's like you're paying the heat tax without getting the benefit of the actual connecting. So, really, maybe just had thrown on some LBX 10s instead. That would have been all right. Go that route and then save a little tonnage for a couple more heat sinks, or, like I said, pulse lasers or something of that nature. Go that route. Now, there is a second version of this mech. Let's bring it up. It's this Canis 2. All right, now this one's a little bit better in some ways. It still has the 16 double heat sink, so it dissipates. Did I tell you what the battle value of this thing was? The first one was 24.9, so basically 2,500. Discount 2,500, and if you throw a pilot in there, it's going up. Now the Canis 2 is 28.22. It's a little higher, just the fact that it has a little bit better systems. And this one's a little bit more better design, more usable. All right, so it's still a 353, still has the XL engines. Like I said, 16 double heat sinks. It has 1 ER large laser in the head. Got rid of 3 of them and replaced those with 2 large pulse lasers in each arm. Okay. And then you got rid of the 2 ultra cannons and replaced them with Hag 20s. All right. Hag 20's good. Yeah, it's like having 2 LRM 20s per se. Distance is a little bit better. You gain in 3 on the range, out to 24 for hyper assault Gauss rifles. Not bad. Potential damage output's pretty much the same when you think about it. It's actually damage output's a little bit better with the 2 because it's usable output for energy. Because the 2 large pulse lasers, that's 20, then you can fire the 2 Hags, that's 28. If you jump, that's 31. You can dissipate through too, so it's more usable. That ER large laser is the big iffy thing that's going on. So if you fired the 2 hags and the 2 large pulse lasers, 28. All right, it's really suddenly you're looking at that ER large is once again kind of wasted tonnage. Yeah, you can fire the 2 hags and the ER large if they're in range, you know, because 25 and 24, there's going to be a short period where possibly you're going to have the 2 large pulse lasers not in range. So yes, you can throw the ER large in there with the 2 hag shots, but it's going to be like for one turn out of the entire game usually as you're closing in, getting closer. So then the rest of the time, the ER large is just wasted tonnage once again. And you might have been better off going the route of throwing on a couple medium pulse lasers instead. Now, the big issue, I'm looking at this, is I'm not seeing any extra pot or crit spots. That's an issue. So you would have to lose like a lower arm actuator or something of that nature, which isn't bad. Then you suddenly got an arm that can flip, but rotate around and shoot behind you. But that's the biggest issue, like I said with the previous one too, is that your crit spots are limited. And once again, you got something that, you know, you're kind of wasted tonnage. You know, so one of the spots in the head could go to our medium pulse laser, and then you have to take off a lower arm actuator to gain yourself some space, because, you know, the big issue is it's slow moving, and you put on heat sinks and they're just sucking up crit spots, because you have to put a lot of them on the mech instead of on the engine. So that's an issue, you know, that you have to see. So other than that, when I look at the number 2 as being the most usable, and once again, you're still carrying around kind of some wasted tonnage on board, because when you get within 20 or less, that ER large is just carrying around for no reason. Now, if you lose an arm, then you just go back to going, okay, now I can use the ER large, you know, that type of thing. So there's that where you have to think about maybe a little bit. But then, yeah, you're looking at 20, 30, but if you lost the arm, you're lost. Typically, if you lose one arm, you lost 2 heat sinks. You lose the other arm, you lost 3. So hopefully it's not the left arm where you have 3 heat sinks in it. So that you're just right back into the same problem of like, oh, I got heat problems again. So overall, it's not one of those mechs that screams to me, oh, I got to take it. It's just, it has a lot of issues in its design philosophy. It can be the number 2 could be a good fire support mech, hanging back and banging away and doing some good damage. Yeah, you can do out to 60 damage with it per turn, using the 2 large pulses and the 2 hag 20s. So that's a good thing for it. But if it starts taking some damage, you're losing heat sinks and weapon systems, and it's out the door, because this thing will lose heat sinks really quickly. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the Canis. It's not one of those ones I can really recommend going out of your way to get. It's probably one of the reasons why I don't have one in my collection. Is just look at it and go, oh, no. It's like when the first time you ever look at something and you analyze it, you go, ugh, yeah. Can't say I want it. Eventually, maybe, but not right now. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the Canis. So go ahead, like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Craig's out.